portion of the NAMB National Conference taking place in October. And today's webinar is intended to give you some snapshot ideas that you can use leading up to the event to be able to help you power up your program, your purchase business promotions, and how you're developing purchase leads. And so as we get started with today's program, there's a couple of housekeeping things I want to take care of just at the top of today's webinar, just to make sure as people are getting signed in that we're also taking advantage of this. So a couple of things. One, if you're having any difficulty, distortion, popping, cracking, breaking, stuttering, or staccato to the sound quality, usually it is a function of the computer mic and speakers in combination with limited internet consistency. So typically in these types of a program, we generally find that you get the best audio experience if you go ahead and call in for the program using your telephone line. Now, the number that is broadcast or shown on your screen right now is not actually the number that you want to use to dial in for the program. That is for example purposes. What you will find is over on the right-hand side of your control panel is the option to be able to adjust your audio settings. So if you go ahead and hit the plus sign beside the audio menu and then open it up and then click the radio button beside the telephone, it will pop up the unique phone number, access code, and PIN number for you to be able to access the audio portion of the program through the phone system. And like I said, you generally do get your best audio experience by using the phone lines instead of the micro speakers. So those of you who are just joining us here in the last couple of seconds, just a quick reminder, generally on these types of programs you get the best audio experience if you go ahead and dial in using your telephone option. You do that by going to the control panel on the right side of your screen, open up that control panel, hit the plus sign beside the audio option, toggle it to the telephone option inside that panel, and it will give you your own unique phone number, access code, and PIN number to be able to hear today's program with the highest level of clarity and quality. We will be getting underway with the rest of the program here momentarily. Obviously, in this business, there's always a little bit of a technical glitch. If this is the first webinar you've ever been on, sometimes it can be a little difficult to get logged in. We always see that these types of webinars, I've got about 2 minutes after, or we're going to give it probably about another 2 minutes just to make sure everybody is signed in, that they've wrapped up those last couple of sales phone calls, and that they've had the opportunity to get dialed in fully and be able to take full advantage of today's program. That being said, we are going to be an interactive program today as well. We will be fielding questions throughout the programming, as well as stopping a couple of different times along the way to field some questions from those of you participating in today's program. So we also want to test out how we're going to communicate during the interactive portions of the webinar. So if you do want to go ahead and open up the questions section of the webinar platform, again, through the control panel on your right-hand side, if you hit the plus button beside the questions, and then you can open up and make comments right directly into that question section. So if you guys wouldn't mind, real quick, just let me know. Let me also use this as a way of testing the audio quality as well as making sure you're able to access the interactive portions of today's program. So go ahead and, if you would, let me know if you can hear me or not. If I'm coming through loud and clear, yeah, there you go. Okay. Also, we want to test the audio for a couple of our guest presenters today. So first of all, Mr. Adam Kernen is joining us. Adam, why don't you go ahead and say a few words to the folks here, and folks, if you would let him know whether you can hear Adam or not.
Well, good morning, everybody. This is Adam Kernen down in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm a mortgage lender with First Citizens Bank with about 15 years in the business. Thanks.
Awesome, awesome. All right, and our second presenter today is going to be Mr. Brad Korn, who is no stranger to our audience, but might be new to some of the NAMB members joining us for today's call. Mr. Brad Korn, Coach, would you pop in and say a few words for us here?
Hey guys, I'm super excited to have Eric get me involved with the NAMB organization, and looking forward to getting to know a lot of you a lot better.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, well, just one last quick second, guys. Again, best audio experience typically will come through the telephone option versus the computer mic and speakers. You know, most computer systems are just not built for high-quality audio. That is also usually the sound quality is going to be graded by the fact of limited capacity on your computer as well as internet bandwidth. So we find that you typically get the best, the cleanest, and the clearest audio experience if you go ahead and dial in through the phone lines. You access that through the phone lines by hitting the plus sign by the audio option. Again, the number that is on your screen is not the correct number to call. The number that you want to use is the one that shows up in your control panel on the right side of the screen. This system assigns the unique individual phone number and access code to every individual attendee so that you have the fullest opportunity to participate with the highest quality of sound. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and get the program underway here in just a couple of seconds. I need to take care of a couple of quick things on the backside, and then we'll be getting underway momentarily. All right, well, welcome back, everybody, once again. This is the NAMB National Power Up Your Purchase Business at the NAMB National Conference event. This is kind of a sneak preview event for the NAMB National Conference taking place in October. My name is Erik Janeczko. I'm the head coach and CEO of the Maximum Acceleration Coaching Summit company, and we have the privilege and honor this year of working with the NAMB Association, providing what we call our Maximum Growth Summit, which we'll be talking about a little bit more in the late part of this program. But it is our privilege and honor to join with the great association, NAMB, the Association of Mortgage Professionals, to provide you high-quality content at the event this year, and we're looking forward to meeting all of you out there. But with today's program, we also want to be talking about what you can do to power up your purchase business. I'm joined today by co-presenters Adam Kernen, who is a top-performing originator from First Citizens Bank in Charleston, South Carolina, as well as Coach Brad Korn, who is a top-notch coach, has been coaching professionally since basically 2006, as well as a faculty member with the Keller Williams Institute, and also has to his distinction more than 1,000 loan officers that he's coached since 2007. But through all of that is also a top-producing realtor who has closed well over 100 transactions a year, every year for the last 15 years. So as we get through today's program, I'll be talking to you guys a little bit more from there. But I want to start with Mr. Adam first. And what we're going to be talking about today is really kind of going deep into what are the challenges that you have in your mortgage and origination business right now, and why is it you're really on today's call? What are you trying to accomplish, and what are you hoping to overcome by attending today's program as well as the NAMB National Conference in October? You know, if you're like most originators, you found that there's been a hard shift in the market with the interest rates popping back up, and kind of, you know, the refinance business is more or less dried up. There's only a handful of deals out there, and it's usually, if there is going to be any refinance business, it's for a high-need situation like a debt consolidation or a renovation type situation. But that percentage of business has dropped out so dramatically, we've got to figure out how to shift our focus and our business model to the purchase lead generation model. Of course, you know, many of you are probably looking to build and establish more business development partners. And at the end of the day, it all comes down to, do you have enough pipeline and enough closing deals coming through to be able to establish a consistent paycheck for yourself and for your family and for the business that you're operating? You know, the reality is it's still a highly contested market, right? I mean, it's a highly competitive environment. Nationwide, according to NLS statistics, there are 394,000 unique MLOs out there registered with the NLS. And so the question is, how do we stand out? How do we compete against? And so that's kind of what I've asked Adam to share with us today, is a little bit more about how he is going through the process of powering up his purchase business. So, Adam, why don't you tell me a little bit about, kind of like we talked about a little bit before the program, what are some of the things that you're kind of doing in the environment of today to transform your business, convert it towards a purchase business, and boost your purchase lead flow and volume?
Thanks, Eric. I think the biggest thing that I've been working on is really making a transition from being that vendor to a real estate agent and working with my real estate partners, instead of just being a vendor and asking them, hey, give me a deal. You know, they've got plenty of people like that approaching them every day, and if you're a vendor who's just fulfilling a quick service for them, you're no different than any other surveyor or handyman or anything else, and you've heard the phrase, you're only as good as your last deal. I've really been working to switch to becoming that advisor person, to where I'm helping them with their business. I'm not just taking business from them. I often use the analogy with the people that I talk to. You've heard, if you give a man a fish, he eats for a day, but if you teach a person to fish, they eat for a lifetime. I'm really working on becoming that advisor and teaching my business development partners to fish, and therefore they will have many more fish. They appreciate that and tend to give you much more of their business. And I've been doing that by really increasing value in finding out what their challenges are. You know, real estate agents are facing a tough environment today and a lot of unique challenges that they haven't faced in the past. And rather than us just trying to fulfill deals, it's really about finding out what their needs and what their opportunities are and helping them solve their problems. It's all about solutions.
Awesome, awesome. So tell me a little bit, Adam, what are some of the challenges that you're finding your business development partners or agents or referral partners, whatever you want to refer to them as, and I think you and I have talked about the idea of shifting our focus from being a business development partner. By the way, we've also talked about the idea of there's more than one way to catch fish, right? You can fish with a rod and reel, or you can fish with a net. Which one creates a more consistent, higher volume of poundage of fish? And if you think about, I know you have some experience with this, Adam, yourself. There's a lot of things that can go wrong that keep the fish in the water instead of in the boat if you're fishing with a rod and reel, right?
Right. If you've got one fish hooked up, you're likely to lose it, but with a net, you're going to catch a whole lot more.
Right. And if you fish with a massive net, you think about radically scaling up. I mean, I know one thing, Adam, you've been working on is not just going after one particular whale of an agent, but working with a wide group of advisors. But I'm assuming that there's probably some commonality of what you've uncovered. I mean, what are some of the challenges that your agents are facing right now in today's unique environment?
Exactly. It is a unique environment for the agents right now. Here in Charleston, and I suspect in a lot of our listeners' markets too, there's a lot of people looking to buy right now, and we're actually facing a bit of an inventory shortage, especially in some price points of the market, particularly the first-time home buyer market and the step-up market of everybody wanting that gorgeous 4-bedroom, 3-bath house they can move into 30 days from now. And that inventory is very picked over, and when a new property comes up on the market, it's often multiple offers the first weekend. And one tactic I've worked on to become much more effective for my borrowers is having a good pre-qual in place, but when they do make an offer, making a call to that listing agent. And call a listing agent, it might sound something like, Mrs. Listing Agent, I know you're getting an offer from a borrower of mine today. You're probably seeing multiple other offers as well, but I want to let you know I've been working with this buyer for the last 30 days. I've made a good, thorough review of their financials. I've got high confidence that they're going to be able to close on this deal in a timely manner, and I give them my name and contact information, and that way they at least can put at least some backing other than this useless piece of paper that most people refer to as a pre-qual letter. They've got some real human backing for this offer. So the trouble to getting offers accepted, and that comes back on us. If you've got a good pre-qualified buyer, if they put in 2, 3, 4, 5 different offers on different houses, they get discouraged and ultimately don't buy. This is a way to make things happen better for them, and you get more closings yourself. So helping the agents get their offers accepted is a need in today's market.
Awesome, awesome. You also mentioned to me that you've taken and kind of applied some out-of-the-box type thinking to help deal with kind of that perfect storm of environment. And, we find ourselves in this market being squeezed between the, you and I often talk about this in our coaching sessions, Adam, but we talk a little bit about the kind of the pressure plate environment that kind of kicks in. But you've come up with some unique solutions for that. So, like, for example, you were telling me yesterday about kind of the deal that you turned into a renovation opportunity.
That's right. The renovations have been an interesting opportunity for me. And again, it's finding the need in the marketplace. If the buyer's out there looking for a $300,000 house in our market, they're going to find things that are either far from downtown or overpriced or in poor condition or might need some work. And we've found that there's a real opportunity in those, call them scratch and dent houses that need a little bit of TLC. Maybe they're not quite good enough for a conforming loan approval, but we can do it with a renovation loan. And that's fulfilled a need, because if they can create a home that they want in the neighborhood that they want, that's been a great need. And the agents have really appreciated that approach because it gets a sale for them to where they've had a previously discouraged buyer. And again, the point is that came from the need of the agents. They've got buyers, they can't find anything to buy for them. So if they can't find it, well, maybe let's make it for them. Now I've got a renovation contractor involved, and we've made things happen, and we've given some business out as well. And that all comes around to help your own pipeline in the future.
Absolutely. And I'm assuming that you probably have gotten some reciprocal referrals from the renovation lender as well, that there's an opportunity for him to kick back some of that and reciprocate on some of that activity
That's
as well.
exactly right. The main renovation contractor that I've been working in does a lot of deals every year, and a fair number of them are based upon purchases. And it's enabled a couple of home purchases and a couple of deals for him that would not have would not have happened otherwise without being able to put all this together. So it really is a scratch their back and get your own back scratched as well. Works very well.
Right. So some of the other challenges, go a little bit deeper into, if you don't mind, some of the other challenges your agents are experiencing and some of the ways in which you're helping combat some of those challenges and being that true partner or business development resource for those agents.
Sure. Well, everybody listening on this call, I don't know if you've noticed, but realtors are not exactly returning 100% of their calls these days. You talk to any realtor, how you doing? Oh, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy. Well, let's take a step back then. In my eyes, that's a need that they have, is to be able to help them with some of this excessive busyness. Well, how many deals are you closing this month? 2. How many hours are you working? 60. Really? Wait a minute. Let's take a step back here and look at what's really going on to help solve this busy, busy, busy all the time. And I may talk with them about, you've heard of the 80-20 rule. You find that real estate agents have a task list to do that's 40 items long. But if you back up and, okay, let's look at what are the most critical sorts of things. You know, we say that 80% of their activities generate 20% of the results. Let's focus on the 20% of their activities that generate 80% of the results and focus in on them and how they can be more effective with their time. And helping them understand the difference between busy and productive has really led to some revelations with some agents. It seems obvious when you say it, but nobody's told them that, and nobody has held them accountable and helped them with that. Making that challenge or making that change with them is a major life change for them. What's the difference between busy and productive? You're probably the only lender to realize that with them and actually reach out and try to help them with their day and their business. So getting them focused on being proactive and productive has been very effective, and it's led to a couple of raving fans for me.
Well, and I think the other thing that's helped with, go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, I was just going to add to that, guys. Listen to what's happening here. You're talking about giving realtors advice that they really do need to hear. Believe me, I am a realtor that coaches realtors, and when they say they are so slammed and out of control and they've got 2 contracts working, are you kidding me? So it does take building a relationship. We're going to talk about that in the second half of this webinar, to really get into relationship with these people, and not, because, I mean, you're not going to be able to walk into their office and go, dude, you're not productive. Let me help you be productive. That's not going to happen overnight. So, but do pay attention to it, because when you build that trust, I'm telling you, you will build a client and affiliate partner for a lifetime.
Absolutely.
That's a really good point, Brad. There definitely is an introductory process to get to know them and understand their business to where you become that advisor. It doesn't happen in a day or in 2 lunches. There's a real process there, and that's one of the things that Erik has helped me with my coaching, understand the full power interview process, getting to know their goals, challenges, and helping them solve their challenges and really becoming that trusted advisor. I believe that's something we'll be going into in a lot more detail out in Las Vegas at NAMB.
Yeah, definitely. And guys, just in the interest of time, I want to keep this program moving. But you know, Adam, I know that this has had an impact on your business, that it's produced some significant results. I mean, you know, even just the simple fact of getting agents to focus on the buyers who can move forward and filtering out the buyers who can't, you working with them to do the home opportunity review questionnaire and get those leads referred to you efficiently, to get the realtor a second opinion on whether, because they don't necessarily understand the difference between a pre-qual and a pre-approval. A fully vetted, fully verified underwriter has reviewed all documentation, crossed every I and dotted every T pre-approval. And the reality of that being that, that there's a lot of loan officers out there, unfortunately, still, that are doing a 5-question pre-qual over the phone. You know, how much money do you make? How much, the 3 or 4 basic surface information, you qualify or not, running some basic numbers in their head and getting off the phone, telling the buyer, hey, I'll see you when you get a contract. And those buyers think they're pre-approved because they've had a 5-minute conversation with a loan officer who didn't really verify anything. And agents don't necessarily understand that, which is why I think it's that you've taken the time to educate them on that process, to give them an efficient way to hand that information to you. So what kind of results has it had for you? So if you don't mind sharing with the group, what's been taking place in your business this year?
It's actually been a pretty dramatic transformation for me. Historically, I've been an 80% refinance lender, and 6 and 12 months ago, at least 80% of my business was refinance. Now, with that market going away, I've made a transition to roughly 80% purchase or some purchase and construction business. So there's been a big transformation there. As far as numbers year to date, my closing numbers are not spectacular, but earlier this year I made a transition from one company to another. I've restaffed. I've had some time out of the office despite some personal challenges. And even so, I'm at about 20 million year to date, looking at ending the year about 40 and growing on that for next year. And this is business that's just organic and just grows on its own over time. And the side of that, other than just the numbers, it's been very personally fulfilling that we're helping people, growing their business, you're improving the world around you. That's a really good feeling, and that's easy to lose touch with as a loan officer in a refinance market. But we really do have an opportunity to improve people's lives and really make a difference, not just with our borrowers, but also with our referral partners. It's been really a joy.
Well, and that's kind of where you have this sort of self-perpetuating growth. I mean, every buyer you work with turns into 2, those 2 refer 4, and it just kind of explodes from there. And that's one of the reasons that, we're looking at the kind of projections and growth, the kind of lead pipeline you're carrying now is, pretty solid that we will pull through, a fairly dramatic increase in your business over the next 3 to 4 months. I mean, 20 billion is not a number to laugh at. I mean, that's a productive number. So anyway, tell me a little bit more, though, about what you're going to be sharing with in more detail, and what we're going to be talking about a little bit more in depth out at the NAMB National Conference in October.
Sure. We're going to go more into depth about the steps of how you implement this in your business. You've seen kind of the results of it and the surface level view. We're going to go into a lot more detail about what is a vendor versus an advisor. How do you approach real estate agents? What are the scripts you can use to get their attention and to get them to realize that you really can help them? You're not just asking for a deal, but you really want to help them grow their business. A lot of that is in the power interview process that, Erik, you've taught me and I've adopted into my business. Really the step-by-step about taking this whole concept and putting it into practice.
Well, definitely, definitely. Well, Adam, I want to thank you for joining us. I know you've got a million things to do today, but I want you to stick around, if you don't mind, for just a few more seconds. Guys, if you don't mind, audience members, if you want to go ahead and ask Adam any specific questions, feel free to go ahead and post those in the Q&A section. While you guys are posting those questions in the Q&A, Adam is going to be going deep on how to share the power interview and how to actually conduct that interview process with agents, how to create that deep level of engagement in a very short period of time, a systematic follow-up and follow-through that converts that agent into a true business development partnership, where we're focusing deep on how we're going about growing. Now, while you guys are going ahead and getting those questions posted online here, use the Q&A function of the webinar platform to go ahead and, if you do have any questions for Adam, go ahead and get those posted in the webinar platform right now. While he's doing that, I just wanted to share with all of you that, the main purpose of today's program and what we're trying to do is just give you a little bit of a glimpse of some ideas that you could try. Like the one actionable idea that Adam shared about, just call your listing agents. If you've done a thorough pre-approval and you have a high degree of confidence in that buyer, talk to your buyer's agents about giving you the numbers, for the listing agents on the properties at the time they're getting ready to present the offers, and call those listing agents and just kind of introduce yourself and introduce the confidence that you have in that buyer. I know, Adam, for you that actually ended up being, the winning solution for a client who missed 3 or 4 different offers, right? I mean, you were telling your story about that a while back, but those are the kind of ideas and concepts that we're going to be going really deep on during the Maximum Growth Summit at NAMB National. Last roughly 4.5 hours of the program, we're going to be taking you through a logical thought process, step by step, to help you build your success plan for 2014. We're going to take all the ideas and concepts you've heard from people like Adam and that you'll hear over the coming weeks of this preview series. And then we're going to help you take everything you learned from the sessions at the NAMB National Conference, and at the very end, we're going to take all of those ideas, package them into an actionable and complete plan so that when you walk out of the conference, you've got everything you need to kick it off in 2014 and really take your business to a whole other level. So if you'd like more information, the best place to go for the agenda and find out more about the programming and what you're going to be exposed to and have the opportunity to take advantage of at NAMB National, go to nambnational.com, www.nambnational.com. By the way, if you haven't got your ticket yet, you're welcome to go ahead and get free admission to the event at NAMB National by using the discount code MANAMB, all capital letters. MA for maximum acceleration, NAMB for the National Association of Mortgage Professionals, the Association of Mortgage Professionals. MANAMB is the discount or promotional code you want to use that will zero out the $295 entrance price to get you into the conference, and that is just our gift to you in support of the association. We want to get as many people out there as possible. We want it to be a great networking and idea sharing event with some of the top thought leaders in the industry that focus on the independent mortgage professionals, the entrepreneurial mindset. Whether you're a banker, broker, hybrid, correspondent, whatever you call yourself, we're all in this thing together. And so this is our opportunity once a year to team up, come together as a community of some of the best thought leaders in the industry and share ideas about how to help make the year. So with that in mind, there's a couple of decent questions that have come through. I'm going to take a quick break to review them really quickly. One question, Adam, that popped into the Q&A section here really quickly, if you don't mind sharing, how did you come across some of the ideas, and what do you do with an agent who presents you with a situation that kind of stumps you? You know, an agent who gives you a challenge you haven't thought of or heard of before.
Does anything truly stump you? You probably have some ideas that jump into your head when you hear it, but if it's a guideline question or something like that, I would reach out to my other folks here at the bank or an underwriter if it's a loan guideline type question. Or honestly, I would talk to you as my coach. You've been an excellent resource for me as well.
The important part of that is, and I think what I'm hearing in that I want to reinforce to the audience is, look, guys, you know, because you're not in the daily minutia of it, it is so much easier for you to see what's going on in their business and how they could make a couple of minor tweaks or adjustments and get significantly bigger results. Like Adam was sharing about the 80-20 rule and getting them focused on the things they're spending 80% of their time doing that are producing nothing as far as results, more or less. And how to shift their use of time towards the things that the 20% of things that get 80% of the results. Of course, I know Coach Brad is going to be jumping in here in just a second and sharing with you some powerful ideas on how to make that dynamic happen again, too. But I just wanted to make sure that if there's any additional questions, folks, we're going to go ahead and move on with today's program. Feel free to go ahead and keep posting those questions, and then as we move through today's program, we'll try and do everything we can to make sure we get those questions answered. Otherwise, Adam, thank you again for joining me for this morning's program. I know you've got a million things you need to do, so if you do need to go ahead and hop off here, feel free to do so. Otherwise, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to Coach Brad Korn. And Brad, I'm going to let you kind of take it and run with it from here on out. Let's talk a little bit about, Brad, what you're going to be covering and what you're going to be sharing with the group at NAMB this year.
Okay, just to make sure my audio is working. Yes, it looks like I'm on. Good. I had a little issue where my phone dumped me off, so hopefully that doesn't happen again. All right, guys, so yeah, this is just a little, again, an insight into some of the sessions that you'll be able to see at NAMB National. It's a great event, and it's just growing each year that we put this thing on. And some of the breakout sessions that we're going to be talking about and helping you with your business while you are there. I'm going to first of all, make sure I've got mouse control. Are you getting me to my slides again? Okay, cool. So this is just a couple of things that we do offer through Maximum Acceleration on some weekly calls, group calls that you can get some stuff, but we do bring this to the NAMB National event. And I wanted to share with you guys some of the things that will go along with what Adam was talking about earlier today on getting those relationships started and building your business so that you can start ramping up even before you come to Vegas. Start ramping up your business so as you get these ideas, you can hear them again a second time and in more detail and actually get more down. Here's the thing I've learned about webinars and learning. If you do come to a lot of our webinars and you get a lot of this great information, you're finding out that we really do work hard to bring you information that you can take off of this call and help you actually put it into action, because it is all about implementation. So that's one of the events that we're launching this year at NAMB National, is to actually send you home with an action plan, that these things don't just end up in a notepad on your desk at the bottom of a pile that you find 6 months to a year from now and look, oh, look at all these great ideas I got at this one event. We want you to come back from these events and actually start growing your business. So we're going to give you great ideas. However, at the event, we're actually going to show you how to put them into action and create an action list for that. I'm going to share a couple of things that you guys can get prepared for the event. That what I want you to do is hear this 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. The more you hear something, and this is probably the hardest thing to help people understand when they're working towards mastering something in their business, is it is going to take repetition. Michael Jordan did not become the most incredible basketball player by going out and shooting hoops one time, or even 2 times or 3 times. He does it for 4 hours every single day. Tiger Woods, the golfer that he has been throughout his life, did not happen going out and shooting golf with his buddies every once in a while with 6 months or 1 year in between. It was every single day for hours on end. So the more you can hear something, and typically what I found with a lot of coaching clients is it's about the 4th, 5th, or 6th time you're hearing something that it will start showing up in your business more easily, okay? Simply, the things that we talk about are really simple ideas, and they're really simple things to implement. It's just they're not easy, okay? It's not easy to pick up the phone and call somebody for 2 hours every day, 5 days a week, 12 months a year. It's not easy, but it is simple. So it's about hearing this stuff. So a couple things I just wanted to touch base that you will see at NAMB are getting the phone to ring again. And this is where I just really suggest you guys take your business into your own hands. Based on what Adam said earlier, I think he nailed it on the head. I don't think you want to necessarily wait for the realtors to decide if you're going to be successful this year. In fact, take your business in your own hands and grow the business that you want. Even if you're at a corporation that brings in leads from a major website or something like that, don't rely on your company to decide how much money you're going to make. Take it into your own hands and build your own business. You have relationships with people. So we're going to talk about turning your database into a gold mine. In fact, I'm going to give you 4 simple steps right now that you can double or triple your business this year. And I'm just going to highlight on them here. I will go into it in more detail at NAMB, so I hope you take advantage of the free ticket and you just get your rear to Vegas and come out and find out how it really works. But if there are people that you know, loan officers are no different than anybody else. Everybody knows 100 to 150 people in your marketplace that you see on a regular basis, that you recognize their face, that you have conversations with. And what's crazy is they're not in a lot of people's databases. I mean, I coach a lot of successful loan officers, and when we come back in and start looking at their database, it's amazing how many people are not in your database. The second part of it is automating the process, because one thing I understand for sure is the amount of pressure that you all have on your end of the process and everything that has to happen. I mean, all that detailed junk that has to happen just to get that loan closed, and you have to keep everybody happy along the way, and still you have to go out and lead generate every day because they're not doing it either, all right? So it is about lead generation. So the more you can automate the process, the better. I have a little saying that if I have to remember to do it, it's probably not going to happen. Okay, let me say that again. If I have to remember to do it, it is probably not going to happen. So keep in mind here that as we're talking about building relationships, I know Roya posted a thing that most real estate agents talk to say they have their own in-house lenders and usually use them. I'm glad you brought that up, because those in-house lenders, one thing I can tell you is 99.9% of them do not have a relationship with the agents in their office. And I'm going to give you a different perspective on that, Roya, is that when they say they usually use them, do you know what that means? That's one sale every 2 or 3 months or every couple of months. The average realtor, according to the National Board of Realtors, sells 4 to 6 properties a year. Now, again, keeping it in perspective, you all know that pretty much the full-time realtors in your marketplace probably sell 6 to 10 to 12, maybe even 20 houses a year. Let's go 24. I'll skew it towards the top end. If they sell 24 houses a year, 12 of those are probably buyers and 12 of those are probably sellers. Okay, so there is maybe one opportunity a month. So when somebody says they usually use the in-house lender, I'm telling you, that is the flag right there that go, this person needs somebody, like Adam said earlier, that's going to look out for their best interest, help them focus on productive activities, and become a business partner with them to help them grow their business, not just settle for whatever falls in the lap and go use the guy in the office next door. Guys, I have coached loan officers to take away business from in-house lenders, okay? So if you are an in-house lender in a real estate office, it's a good thing you're on this call, because you need to hear the kind of things that you're going to be combating to not lose that business after you've done all that. So what we're going to talk about real quick and just highlight all this stuff, because this is just the preview of what's going to be going on at NAMB, but I want to give you enough information that you can get it a little bit and take it to the next level. But really what you need to do is become the brand that they think of. And if you've heard me before in the past, what I think you guys have the biggest opportunity for is you get the biggest brand for the biggest slot of the biggest piece of a person's brain. And when I say that, I mean you get the entire money slot. Mortgage can take over finance, money, investing. I mean, you can take over so much with this brain cell for the money guy or the money gal, whatever it might be. But it is really going to talk about, I mean, it's really going to become branding and really letting these people know that you like them, that they like you, they trust you, and they listen to you. You want to become the Nike, the Lay's, and I call it the Crest. I mean, when I say tennis shoes, you think of Nike. When I say potato chips, you think of Lay's. When I say toothpaste, you think of Crest. And you might think of Colgate, you might think of Reebok, you might think of some of those other brands as well, but most people, you want to become the Nike, the Lay's, and the Crest of the mortgage industry in their brain. We show you how to do that through all these different ways. So the 4 steps I'm going to share with you real quick is called a reconnect plan. And please understand there's no way I'm going to be able to help you master this plan on this webinar today. Okay, we are going to go into this in more detail in Vegas, so I hope you'll be there. You get a free ticket. Just use that NAMB code and get there. We're going to cover this in more detail, but it's a 4-step process. Here's what I start with. Look at your database. First of all, do you have everybody you know in your database? And you probably don't have everybody you know in there, even if you think you've got your database under control and you're focused on it. I'm going to share with you in a second how you might start getting a little better prepared and get more people in your database. But for the people that are in your database right now, if you have 100 people in your database, have you talked to all 100 of those people, including agents? Have you talked to these people who know you and you know them? Have you talked to them all in the last 4 weeks? Or is it one of those things where if I picked up the phone and I called them today, they're going to be waiting for me to say, oh, okay, what do you want me to do now? What do you want me to refi? What is it? So when you get to that point, you don't really have a relationship and you're not staying in touch. So what I suggest is you send a reconnect letter. This reconnect letter, it goes out to 5 people a day. Hey, I just want you to know I was thinking of you. I realize I haven't kept in touch, and I wanted to apologize. I'm going to stay in better touch with you from now on. And then this part is the most important. I will be contacting you in the next few days to touch base. Now, when I coach loan officers on this plan, what I tell them is you send the letter to 5 people a day, not all 100, because the second step of this is going to happen 3 days later, and it's going to be to pick up the phone and call them. Okay, now I'm going to make this real easy for you. Send the letter to 5 people today, send it to the next 5 people tomorrow, send it to another 5 people the following day, and the following day, and the following day. Start at the A's in your database and go through to the Z's. Send this letter out. When you pick up the phone 3 days later, remember, you got to schedule this. It's got to be automatic. Schedule it in your planner 3 days later that phone call pops up, because your letter said you're going to call them in the next few days, and do not take that piece out of the letter. That is your accountability to get on the phone. So you pick up the phone, and here's the fun part. I'm going to give you permission to not even talk about mortgages on this very first call. It kind of goes back to what I said when Adam was talking earlier, and I think we've got pretty much the same crew on here. Build that relationship and that trust first. See, when you walk into a clothing store or a shop or something like that, and the salesperson walks up and says, "May I help you?" Well, I can tell you right now, I know most of you on this phone call, this webinar right now, you are not just dilly-dallying around the mall shopping for fun, right? If you're at the mall, you are going there to get something, and you want to get in and out of the mall as quickly as possible. I would bet I probably nailed about 80 to 90% of you on this call with that statement, okay? Now, there's still some fun shoppers. I know you're out there. But you walk in, you want a product, and somebody walks up and says, "How may I help you?" And you say, "Just looking." Now, what if that same person came up to you and said, "Hey, you look like you're on a mission. You look like you're here to get something. Can I get you in and out of this store as quickly as possible?" And you're like, "Well, yeah, I'd love that. Great. What do you need?" Boom, we're out. That's your favorite salesperson on the planet right there, because they came in, they let you know they cared about what you were doing and why you were there, and they were listening to you, and they got you in and out. So pick up the phone. Just talk to people. How you doing? How are the kids? What have you been up to? What's going on? Take good notes, because the next step, the third step of this, is to write a handwritten note. And I'm going to challenge you. Again, I can't help you master this on this call because it's just a quick overview of what we're going to be covering. But try to write the note without the words I, me, or my. Now, just write that down. Don't worry about it, because when you're going to write these notes, you're going to automatically want to say, "I'm so glad I talked to you today. It was great, catching up with you on the phone. And if you need anything to do with mortgages at all, give me a call. I, me, my. If you look at this note, it was a pleasure talking with you today. Thank you for the opportunity to catch up and see how the family's doing." So that's what you want to do with these notes, is make this very first note non-branded, non-personal, just really personal, without the words I, me, or my, and get through that barrier, just that mental, that defense mechanism that they automatically have when you call. So write a note. So listen to this. You wrote the letter, you made the call, you wrote the note. The last step is then just stay in touch with them on a more consistent, persistent basis. So here's the tip. Every single day, add new names to your database. Every single day. Add 5 people a day. Make it simple. 5 people a day. Now, I'm going to share some ways that you can find 5 people a day. What we were just talking about was the reconnect plan, how you reconnect with your current database. Now I'm going to talk to you about finding new people. And guys, the reason why this works so well is we are in a new world of marketing. See, back in the old days, the guy could roll into a western town, park at the end of the downtown Main Street, open up his little covered wagon, and he had this black elixir that would make your headache go away. Well, the people in town would see this guy roll up and open up his little stand, and a couple people would finally wander over, and he'd give them a sip, and their headache went away. They started going telling everybody, "Hey, man, this guy makes your headache go away." And he would clean that town out within a day or two, just selling his stuff. Then, in the day and age of television, we started seeing commercials. It's like, Bayer aspirin takes care of your headache. Now they could reach millions of people at once, and aspirin was sold like crazy. Think about that. Bayer, one of the very first commercials. When you go to the CVS or the Walgreens or whatever today, what do you see in the aisle? Boom, we're in a new world. It is not one commercial running on Bayer making your aspirin go away. There is nighttime, daytime, sleepy time, half time, full time, sleep for an hour, wake up for a couple hours, aspirin now. There's so much stuff, and our brains are just overwhelmed with the amount of information coming to us that we have moved back to that part where it says, hey, I got a headache, I got this migraine, oh man, you got to use extra strength Tylenol. So we're back to referring, we're back to going to the people that we trust and listen to. So I'm going to give you one more tip, and that's where do you find 5 people a day? Guys, this is probably one of the most simple ways to feed your database every day, and this will keep you busy for months. Post something like, if this is good information and you guys are writing faster than you can even listen to me talking, post some stuff on there. Let me know that this is good information, that you could use this. But here, guys, grab your social media sites. Look at your friends list. What I challenge my coaching clients to do is to pull up their database, pull up their Facebook list, and go from the top of the list to the bottom of the list. And every person that you're friends with on your Facebook page, are they in your database? Are your LinkedIn people that you're linked up with in your database? I mean, are the people you're following on Twitter in your database? These are people that you know, you're following, you find them interesting. Wouldn't it be amazing if you took that one extra step and you focus on 5 a day and you just try to find their information and give them a call? So one of the things as far as social media sites, that you want to get as many social media sites as you can going so that you can get some friends and followers so that you can feed your database every day, go to a thing called NameCheck, N-A-M-E-C-H-K. Type in your normal login that you use for all of your social media stuff. This thing will actually show you some of the most common social media sites that your name has not been taken on. It also helps you find the more popular ones like, oh, do I even have an account on Twitter? Do I have an account on Facebook? Guys, I'm not talking about getting swamped into living in social media land. I avoid social media like the plague. In fact, I have to create an automated system to remind me to go get on social media. But what I do is I leverage that social media to get my database fed every single day by pulling up that friends list, seeing who's in my list, seeing who's not in my database, and just, I mean, you can see it right here, just typing in the guy's last name, see if he's in my database. Stephen Cooper, he's definitely in my database. I mean, there's some great people. Dave Jinks, James Malinchak, ABC's Secret Millionaire. I mean, these are people that I've hooked up with, and I'm going to make sure that they are in my database and that I'm building a relationship with these people. So just keep working your social media list. The other cool thing about it is as you're adding these people to your database and you're synchronizing your social media list with your database list, is that you get to be Ninja Mortgage Guy or Ninja Relationship Builder, because you get to click on their Facebook page and see what they talk about, see what they do for fun. So Steve is an Indians guy. That's really cool for me to know. You know, you never know. Someday I might be just goofing around on eBay and there's a signed Indians ball going for 99 cents. Well, guess what I'm going to do? Because I stay in touch with Steven, I think of Steven when I see Indians, and then I grab that ball and I buy it, and I just send it to him and say, hey, I was thinking of you today, got this autographed ball. I mean, it's like 99 cents. I mean, obviously that may not always happen, but it's talking about being on purpose to build relationships. Guys, as far as sources, think about the list. Another thing that I coach on is creating a memory jogger list to start thinking about everybody you're seeing every single day that is not in your database yet. Don't wait for the realtors to bump into them or become friends with them and get them back to you. You go get them and take them to your referral partners. Realtors, financial planners. Oh, financial planners are a gold mine for you guys. CPAs are a gold mine for you guys. Past clients, prospects, I mean, all this stuff are just great things. Chamber. Take the Chamber of Commerce to a new level and actually get to know these people. Take them out for lunch. Find out what their goals are. Find out what their hobbies are. Just find 5 new people a day, and you do that every single day. Think about this. You want a good number? Think about adding 5 people a day. That's 25 a week. That's 100 a month. That is 1,200 relationships that you could create every single year. So don't become those people who are so super slam busy and they're closing 2 deals. You guys could be super slam busy closing 2 loans a month. I'm not saying that that's not going to happen. What you want to do is be on purpose about creating 1,200 relationships, because what we're talking about here is new purchase loans. You want purchase loan business. Do you realize that the average person moves every 7 to 10 years? It actually did bump back a little bit according to National Board of Realtors, that it is about every 10 years. Over the last 6 years, it bumped back a little bit. But if it's 7 years and you have 1,200 people, let's keep it easy. If everybody moves on an average of every 10 years and you just met 100 or 1,200 people that you created a relationship with, that you wrote a note, and that you stay in touch with on a consistent basis, remember, it's automatic too. The system tells you that it's been 3 months since you called them, call them again. But those 1,200 people, 120 of those 1,200 people are going to be doing a new purchase loan this year in the next 12 months. And here's what's more crazy, is there's 120 people out of that same 1,200 that's going to do a new purchase loan next year in the next 12 months. And there's another 120 the year after that, and year after that, and year after that. Now, you do it again next year and you add 5 people a day, 1,200 more people a year. That's 2,400 people in your database. The second year you're doing this program, you have the opportunity for 240 purchase loans. So one of the things we do is we'll give you this spreadsheet at the NAMB National Conference where you'll be able to track how many contacts did you make in a day, how many people did you add to your database, how many notes did you write, how many appointments did you set, how many loans did you take, how many loans actually closed, and you can actually start tracking your conversion rate that will tell you, this is how successful I am. I convert, for every 100 contacts I make, I get 3 deals closed. So if you want to close 6 deals next month because you need some extra money for a vacation or to pay off a credit card, all you got to do is call 200 people, and you're going to close 6 deals because this is your conversion rate. So these are just the kind of cool things that we like bringing to you guys to show you that somebody's been there before you. They are, our coaching clients are doing this. Loan officers, successful loan officers are doing this stuff everywhere. They're feeding their database every day, and it is time to get back to the relationship world. I hope that if any of you on this call plan on being in Vegas, that you take advantage of the free ticket first, but I hope that you will come up and talk to me and introduce yourself and say, I was on that webinar, and that was great stuff, and I'm already starting to implement this stuff. So please come up and introduce yourself when you see us in Vegas.
Definitely. Well,
Erik?
Coach Brad, hopefully you guys have picked up, I know I picked up at least 3 new ideas every time I hear Brad talk, and I talk at least a couple of times a week. But I'll tell you what, guys, this is the kind of stuff that makes a difference between whether you're doing 2 or 3 loans a month, 5 or 7 loans a month, or how to double that to 10 to 12 loans a month, or 20 loans, or 40, or even 60, 80, 100 loans a month. I mean, guys, we, as a professional coaching company, we have developed over the last 9 years, since we launched in 2005. We've put a little over 3,000 people through our coaching program. We've we've worked with people upwards of even 100 loan a month plus producers, still helping them take it to another level. And the reality is that the simple stuff, the stuff that is the minor tweaks or adjustments, are usually the major result makers when it comes to following through. And you don't get those kind of opportunities or guidance or outside perspective. One of my famous quotes that I keep trying to find somebody else to attribute it to, because I don't necessarily like to quote myself, but at the end of the day, we don't know what we don't know. I mean, think about it. How could you? We don't know what we don't know until somebody cares enough to point it out to us, or we're hungry enough to go chase it down. And when I started in origination, I started in 1996. Very quickly, basically ended up being a victim of a market shift similar to what has just happened. I was a junior loan officer for a top producing firm that was totally refi based. And within a span of less than 3 or 4 days in 1997, we lost 400 basis points in pricing, and 43 of the 66 loans in our pipeline disappeared overnight, and myself and another guy were out on the streets looking for a job. And I was so desperate and hungry to figure out, after 4.5 months, and I finally landed a job, I needed to make money quick. and I didn't know how to do it, so I started asking the question, who are the guys who teach the top, who are the guys who coach the top originators in the industry, and somebody introduced me to an opportunity to go out to a training workshop for a couple of days, and I spent a couple $1,000 to go out to that program, and what I learned in that program I still use in my practice today. And it's that knowledge of what we don't know that makes all the difference to what we can create for a business that can create rapid growth and expansion. I doubled my business year over year, 4 years consecutively, closed 237 loans my last 12 months in retail. It was all purchase, all government, first-time home buyer type loans, all personally referred by business development partners, realtors, financial planners, CPAs, and those kind of things. So some of the ideas that you've heard today are a good snapshot of that. Obviously, we didn't have a lot of time in this webinar. We're just trying to give you kind of a preview of what we're going to be talking about in great depth when you come out to the NAMB National Conference. I mean, here's the question you got to ask yourself. First of all, it's a free ticket for the event. Yes, you'll have a little bit of investment between hotel and airfare, but the reality is, can you afford not to come out to this conference? Can you afford not to be hanging out around with 1,500 to 2,000 of the top originators in the country and talking about and brainstorming ideas of how to take your business to the next level, and then going through a hands-on deep workshop where we're going to guide you through step-by-step how to build your success plan for 2014, that when you walk out of the event, you're going to have your day-by-day action plan already lined out for you, and all you have to go do is execute it. We're going to be bringing on thought leaders like Brad Korn and Adam Kernen that you've heard from today. We're also, the rest of the Maximum Acceleration coaching team, including our awesome coach Stephanie, is going to be there with us. My good friends Renee Rodriguez and Greg Frost, who are also major, leaders in the industry as far as, top-notch speakers and trainers. Greg Frost is the billion-dollar originator, the first guy to crack $1 billion total career originations, did over 1,500 over 10,000 loans in 15 years. If you do the math on that, that's like 60-plus loans a month. And he's going to be with us sharing ideas on how to take advantage of the opportunities in the market, overcome the challenges that you and your business development partners are facing. And we're going to work with you at that program to be able to make sure you have everything you need to take 2014 to a whole other level and transform your business from refi to purchase and build a sustainable and solid volume of business at whatever level you want to produce. So join us at NAMB National. Go to www.nambnational.com. You can click the registration button there and use the promo code or discount code MANAMB. MA for Maximum Acceleration, NAMB for the association. That will be the discount code that wipes out the $295 ticket price to attend. Be careful, though, guys. This expires midnight Friday this week. We only have a couple of days left to get the registration in for this, so make sure you go ahead and jump on board and make the decision, make the commitment, invest in yourself, and it's the single highest profit ROI investment you could possibly make. So I look forward to seeing all of you at NAMB National. Of course, if you guys have any questions, feel free to go ahead and post them in the Q&A right now. We'll hang out for just a couple more seconds here. Coach Brad, I know you got to jump, but I'll be hanging out for just a few more minutes to be able to take any additional questions. Just one other thing, if you are looking at taking your business to the next level, I know many of you have been asking about what is this whole coaching thing and how does it work. Well, I'll tell you what, the best way to identify what the value of coaching is to you and your business growth is to experience it. So take advantage of our opportunity to get a strategy session, which is a no-cost, no-obligation coaching experience. You'll be able to get some advice and guidance on how to fix your biggest challenges and implement your best solution to taking your business to the next level in a deep one-on-one environment. From there, you'll talk a little bit about what the coaching experience looks like, what the commitments are on both sides, and then how to take it to the next step if it makes sense for you. If you'd like to take advantage of that, feel free to post that in the webinar chat. Q&A, by the way, there is only a handful of those sessions available each week, so please make sure that you go ahead and post the best phone number and email address for our team to be able to get a hold of you, to be able to get that appointment scheduled. Otherwise, the next installment of the series is going to be about boosting your business with listing agents. That will be coming up Tuesday, September 10th. We'll be talking about speakers and guest commentators that are going to be joining our success panel at the NAMB event. Jim Sanger, a top producing originator from South Florida, and Kevin Bilberry, the CEO of HomesByLender.com and the new listing booster system, are going to be talking a little bit about how you can leverage tools and technology to really power up your realtor's purchase business and take their business to a double, triple, quadruple volume increase in a year using this system. And they'll be talking about how to do that. If you want more information on that program, go to our mxlcoach.com/webinars website to get registered and be watching the email updates that look similar to the one you got for today's event as we start going to the next part of this series. Otherwise, if there's any questions or comments, feel free to go ahead and post them in the Q&A. The last thing I want you guys to do is you've invested an hour of your time at this point, so you've gotten some great ideas. Now, it would be a shame if you didn't do something with those ideas, because the reality is ideas without action are totally worthless. They have no value to your business if you don't put them in action. So take 5 minutes here before you go to your next email, before you jump on your next phone call, before you talk to your next appointment, and put your action plan together of how you're going to implement the ideas you've heard in today's program. Ask yourself, question number 1, what was the most valuable thing you heard in this program? Maybe it was the idea of calling listing agents at the time an offer is being made to help your buyers get their contracts accepted. Whatever that one idea is. You can come back and get idea 2, 3, 4, and 5 later because you'll have access to the recordings from today's program in about 48 hours once our team gets the editing and rendering and transcoding process completed. We'll be sending out a follow-up email to all the registrants for today's program to be able to take advantage of. Second question here is, once you've decided what the one key idea is you're going to implement, decide what action you need for your daily business. What's the very next step that you need to take to make that idea happen for you? Maybe it's come back to watch for the recording list overview, create some bullet points for that so you can practice that introductory call to the listing agent a little bit and get yourself comfortable with making that outbound call. Maybe it's taking Brad's idea of 5 a day and syncing your Facebook listing with your active contact database and calling the people that aren't in your active contacts yet and just doing a social reconnect call, as Brad advised you to do. Okay, so here's the key. If you want to know the secret sauce of implementation, it's all about accountability. Decide 2 things. When are you going to have that action completed? And who is going to hold you accountable to meeting and following through on that action plan by that date and time? You know, we didn't have time to go into it today, but there's a research study from Brigham Young that talks about what does it take to implement and follow through. Well, you have a 95% chance of following through on implementing your ideas if you, 1, set a specific target date for completion, and 2, ask somebody to hold you accountable and follow up with you. Of course, if you don't have a good accountability partner to work with, you don't have somebody you trust, respect, and has knowledge and information, and somebody that's going to make you feel a little bit guilty if you don't follow through on that commitment, we'd be happy to offer that opportunity to you as part of the coaching process. If there's anything my team or I can do for you, just simply reach out to us and ask. And again, the opportunity to take advantage of a strategy session is one of the easiest ways to do that. Otherwise, we look forward to seeing you all at the NAMB National Conference. Remember, you've got till midnight Friday to get your free ticket for the NAMB National Conference. One more time, I'm going to put this up on the screen just to make sure. You've got the code. The website is www.nambnational.com, www.nambnational.com. And the discount code for a free ticket for the NAMB National Conference on Maximum Acceleration Professional Coaching Company is MANAMB. MA is in Maximum Acceleration, NAM is in the association, and we look forward to seeing all of you out in Vegas October 19th through the 21st at Harrah's Casino. Otherwise, guys, I'm going to jump off here momentarily. I'm going to go ahead and jump off my phone, but I'm going to leave the platform open for just a few more minutes. If you have any additional questions you want to go ahead and post, feel free to do so at this time. Otherwise, look forward to seeing you all in the next installment of this series, as well as at the NAMB National Conference Live. Make it a great week, everybody.